Donovan Kane's stump is high cut, a few inches shy of his torso, and is not suitable for a prosthetic latch. He readily conceded that he was lucky to lose the right leg, both literally and figuratively, in a motorbike accident. For goofy-footed surfers, it was one less adjustment to return to the water. The 48-year-old former Navy conscript donates his demographic. The easy S-bend on the Cape Peninsula St. James Coastal Road put him in another box at 19 years old. The contour road is an intuitive, lazy sachet for a biker and an unexpected deception for the motorist. The accident report could not conclusively determine who strayed across the white line in the collision that mangled Kane's leg. After 6 months in hospital and post-surgery complications from opportunistic infections, Kane decided to lop off the tattered remains. He was discharged a month later. A celebration at the brass bell delayed his return to surfing by another 2 months after he tumbled down the bar steps to smash his only ankle. You would think he'd had enough by now.
Yeah.
No. Riding the breath of an ocean is a selfish, rule-based pursuit. False Bay's Cork Bay Reef ranks amongst Kane's favorite breaks. It's quite dangerous. It can be hectic, a very fast takeoff. Everything is about the takeoff, and it's quite a difficult drop. The rules are the rules. They are there to stop accidents. If you have a small car, no one gives you a gap. You see my leg, no one sees my leg in the water, but they know that there is no favors. Surfing is more a religion than a sport, and Kane was an early convert. He was born in East London and torn from the coast by his parents' separation by the sea. The sea remained a constant lure. I beg your pardon.
Jesus Christ!
At 14 years old and living in Johannesburg with his father, he made a bid for East London by bicycle and was picked up 4 days later approaching Bloemfontein. His parents relented and let Kane move to his mother's East London home, and he was schooled at Hudson Park, his playground the Indian Ocean. He became a lifesaver and a provincial school surfer. Kane's first attempt to surf in the early 1990s after the amputation was at Muizenberg, a break favored by novices. He had no template and persevered through trial and error. His shortboard style suited both right and left breaks. Standing with both hands gripping forward requires the dexterity of a gymnast and a brute to wrestle the wave. There are inevitable spins in the ocean's laundry for misjudgment. I'm still not sure how I do it, he says. I don't have as much speed as a normal person, but I'm not far behind. I always get a barrel or two, and when it's small, I can tuck in. It's a small advantage. His mother relocated to Cape Town for a couple of years after the amputation. Unsuccessful attempts at getting compensation from the road accident fund dragged on for years, and Kane headed to Johannesburg for the promise of work, and a decade-long wipeout followed. He became a heroin addict on the streets, begging at robots and living in a Rosettenville crack house. But the university saved a lot of lives. I gave a lot of addicts a second chance using my mouth-to-mouth and CPR from my life-saving training. Kane put himself through rehab and convalesced with his father in Mpumalanga. He completed a landscape gardening course and returned to Cape Town in 2013. He noticed that more maimed and wounded bodies were competing for the waves. Some kids sometimes stare at you. People on the beach are pretty surprised and congratulate you when you come out of the surf. I did feel self-conscious at first, but I got over that. Some people are scared to surf, and able-bodied people, that is, people will come up to you and say, will you take me surfing? And so I do. They all get hooked, and the kids as well as grown-ups get hooked on surfing. Last year he competed in the SA Adaptive Surf Championships held under the auspices of the non-profit Made for More at Durban's North Beach, and he came stone last.
Okay.
This year he finished second in the AS2 category, a classification for competitors with amputations above the knee or elbow. His current SA ranking is a passport, funding permitting, to compete in California's International Surfing Association's World Adaptive Surfing Championship, scheduled for the first quarter of 2020. Made for More, established in 2016, seeks to empower those with disabilities. Kane mentors aspiring adaptive surfers and joined a community well versed in injustices of buying a pair of shoes for 1 foot or burying crutches on the beach so they don't get stolen. Kane was taken under the wing of a surfer and competitive judge called Chris Heath, and he shaped him a board. He watched how I surfed on all the boards and made me the perfect board with a double concave, which means nothing to me, that goes into a single concave, which also means nothing to me, but I think it means something to surfers, and the rails are not as sharp. I think the rails are the sides of the board, I'm not too sure. Kane says his surfing has just got better and better, and he has an eye on his surfing debut at Olympic sports in Tokyo next year, as the Paralympic Games are under pressure to follow suit. Isn't that a remarkable story?
It is.
It's an amazing story of overcoming the odds. And he's right here. He's right here. And he's in the valley. I think he is. Although this article, I must admit, is one that may go back a little bit. It goes back to 2019 when this article was written. But I don't think that a couple of years between then and now would have changed Kane in any way.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that Kane is still in the valley, and that we'll get the opportunity to bring him into the studio and chat to him. I think it will be an absolutely fascinating conversation to have Kane come into the studio. Now, the second story that I was going to share with you is also one of overcoming adversity, and it is also an amputee. I will keep this for tomorrow, but it is a story of a guy who can only walk for 20 minutes at a time, but yet he climbed 3 of England's 3 highest peaks. We'll keep that for tomorrow, because the story about Kane was long, and I wanted to share it in its entirety. So Donovan Kane, hats off to you, my friend. I certainly hope that we get the opportunity to chat to you here on Zone Radio at some time. I really would like to do that. All right. So